Yo, what's up, guys? It's Acid. So, gotta get the voice box clear. So, so I was seeing recently some things I was looking at talking about, like this thing with microtransactions and how bad it's been with over the last how long have they been around? Microtransactions, that being purchasing of like what is it? Loot boxes. Loot boxes is the thing. I know it's in Counter Strike. I know it was in Dead Space. I know it's in I guess every game that makes you pay for something outside of the main. Outside of the main thing that you purchase, unless it's like a free game, then I guess it doesn't really matter at that point. But just the thing with microtransactions, where microtransactions have been like one of the absolute worst things that has come across in like the gaming world in general. And I don't know if you would categorize DLC in general as a micro transaction, quote unquote. But even if so, I was never that big of a fan of necessarily buying DLC. Like I can see it in shooters, DLC for like DLC maps, or even to some extent DLC maps can be like free or could have been free. Um, it's just it makes it where like I said, microtransactions are not a good thing. Have never been a good thing because it literally is just a way of companies getting extra money out of people. And I get it. The gaming world is insane in comparison to how it was, even 20 years ago up until now, where the cost of games are so much more. So it's like microtransactions is like a additional thing to recover some of the funds that they used on some of the purchases they did before, on just how much it costs to make a game, to build a level, to build have the engines, everything else with the game. So I mean, still, even with that, I'm still not the biggest fan of microtransactions. I think they still don't need to exist. I think also too because when you look back at like the PS2, Xbox era, microtransactions weren't a thing back then, and we still paid our 50, $60 for our games then, and they came out complete and they were fine. Games were fun. Games felt like they were more complete. It felt like everything that you could get. It just really felt like you just got your money's worth a lot more. I feel like you got your money's worth a lot more. Like I couldn't imagine, you know, being back in the day playing SOCOM 2 or playing Ratchet and Clank or playing, Star Fox and Mario games or whatever, even though Nintendo doesn't do it. But just seeing games like those where it's like, oh yeah, you can buy a new level for this game and blah blah blah, and you can buy extra guns that you can't really see anyways in SOCOM 2 because you're facing the wrong direction away from you, so you can't really tell it's something new. Like, that's why I don't really like how Fortnite specifically has. I guess this isn't really a microtransaction, but it is extra DLC, whatever. Buying all the content. Now in Fortnite, I can see, actually, I take that back, because you can see what you purchased, right? Something like Call of Duty, you can't see your skin until you die. You can't see your skin of what you just paid for until you die. So what am I buying again? What am I spending my money on right now again? You know, and it just feels unnecessary. Like, why can't we go back to the days of us just buying a game once, spending money on a game once, and being able to put more time in it to earn what we wanted to get out of it, to earn more content, to unlock characters, to unlock skins and guns and levels and different wacky things we can do. Like, it'll make us play through our games more often. To make me, for sure, would make me play through a single player game 4 or 5 different times, and man, I got a different experience as in like new costume, new color, a new character to use, a new weapon, something like that. That would be so much better than the idea of just, hey, I'm gonna spend this money, or even if it's a free game, I get to just keep possibly throwing more than $60 into a game to get more out of it, as opposed to, it turns into I'm wasting more money or throwing more money away. To some level, it just really depends on how you look at it. But the idea that really made me break this up was the fact that I had recently seen it was this company called Nexon, and how these people, I think it was over in China or Korea or wherever, and they had the loot box system in this game, Cave Story. I think it was Cave Story, and it was a bunch of people that bought it. Of course, to have the up chance of buying this special thing to, um, you know, have a higher chance of getting items out of these loot boxes. Come to find out, their chances were not increased within this time. So all the money they spent, they were spending money just to throw at the company and not have any more of a chance of getting more items for the game out of it than they did before they paid the money. So that's what also really made it bad. I'm like, okay, because if it was me, of course, I'd be extremely pissed off from that. And, if I just threw money away. And so continuing on with that, they just happened to now I've seen they were being sued for I think it was either 8 million or $8 billion in the losses that I guess the players had with the money they threw into the game. And then once they found out that their chances were not increased in any way, they're like, okay, yeah, it's time to sue them. So they are being sued now, which is a crazy thing to think about for 8 million or 8 billion. And I know that I also heard that it's not on the developers themselves. I believe I heard them say it was the CEOs and the people that are actually running that are over the developers that were making it where they're making the choices that they're making. So whoever the CEOs is of these companies, they're the ones that's in control of necessarily how good or how bad a company does because they're the leadership. And since they're the leadership, this kind of bomb that's going to fall back on them. But it's just so crazy today with the times that we're in right now with just the level of greed that companies can have now versus like putting fun at the forefront. And it's like it seems simpler from the outside looking in, since of course I don't run a $1 million company, but just if you make your company, your customers happy, because I don't see what's the big deal about not wanting to increase the amount or the chances of somebody getting in-game digital items, you know, more than anybody else. Like, why not let them pay to get an increased chance as opposed to just not giving them anything out of it at all when they spent their money that they worked for to put into it? It's a crazy thing. It's just whoever is running these companies. It just needs to be a change where we as players stop buying into these things and stop just not thinking about it before we put our money into it. Because if we stop buying these things, they'll stop adding them in the game. We stop paying attention to these things, they're eventually going to stop doing these things and thinking they'll plus out of it. They're only doing it because they know there's people out here that will buy it no matter what. And that's also the problem on our side. So we just need to come together more about it and just don't promote microtransactions, don't buy them, keep your money in your pocket. If you're gonna spend money, buy them on a full game, buy them on indie games because that's where the real love is at. I can keep going on forever, but yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that little thing there. Give you guys something to watch within this. So yeah, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and keep going on another video soon. And have another good thing and topic to talk about. So, all right, I'm Acid. Peace out.